so my main research question was if panpsychism is plausible enough to science and philosophers are increasingly interested in it, what's that going to mean for Christian theology? Historically, Christian theology has, in general, seen panpsychism as kind of maybe a bit pagan, maybe a little bit too close to pantheism, and these other things that Christian theology definitely doesn't like. But I argued, so my finding was that actually there's nothing in panpsychism itself as a theory of consciousness that is incompatible with Christian thought. And actually there are a few advantages to panpsychism that could help Christians solve certain problems that we have within our teachings. It's very difficult to have empirical research really on any view of consciousness. So we can have lots of empirical research on the brain, right, and lots of empirical research on, therefore, kind of reductive and materialist views of consciousness. But by definition, a realist view of consciousness or realist view of the soul, if it's not materialist, is already talking about something that is not, you cannot do empirical experiments on. That, by definition, you can't stick consciousness under a microscope. You can watch human beings who are conscious and how they behave, but you can't pinpoint it and say that bit's the conscious bit. So there isn't much empirical research, but I would be skeptical of it if there was, right? It's not the sort of thing. You can have social scientific research kind of on conscious organisms, but not consciousness in isolation by itself. I think so. So I'm saying both that God is separate from nature, transcends nature, and that panpsychism can help with ecology. So, and I think, as you say, it's because panpsychism can help Christianity articulate God's relationship to nature as one of intimate presence, of care, and of giving value to nature without saying that nature is divine in some way. I don't think we need to say that in order to have ecological values. I think we can say that God is present in the natural world, and the only way maybe that we access God is through the natural world, but God isn't identical to the world. I don't know what it would mean to have a relationship with God without a body. I know that sounds strange, but we pray with our minds and our hands and our knees, and we move around in church in all sorts of funny ways, depending on what church you go to. I mean, every religion has embodied practices. So I think that's enough to say we access, the only way that we have access to God, to have a relationship with God, to form religious beliefs, is through the material world, our bodies and other bodies. And that makes it sacred and worth protecting. It makes it holy in that sense without making it identical to the divine being.